The June 10th, 2015 Plainfield Township Park District Park Board of Commissioners meeting is called to order at 6 p.m. Commissioner Newton, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
Here.
Furtado. Ruderman. Here. Newton.
Here.
Poland. Here. Science.
Present.
Is there anyone that would like to make a public comment tonight? Nobody's moving. I'll take that as a no. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I don't get the consent agenda.
Okay, a motion was made by Commissioner Newton and seconded by Commissioner Poling to approve the consent agenda. Roll call?
Deers?
Yes.
Ludeman?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Poland?
Here.
I mean, yes. Stein?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Staff reports.
A couple things that have been going on. Mayfair Park is pretty much at its completion. We, after meeting with the Mary family, we are looking at a July 11th at 11 a.m. for the dedication for PFC Andrew Mary. We're working with the family to get the greater details, but that was the day we both seen the field works. 11 a.m. And there will be invitations that will be sent out to the people that as well as all like board members, legislators, etc. Four Seasons, the pathway, the ADA pathway construction has begun. I believe the concrete pads are all dug out at this point. They've been poured as well. I was not out there today. And the other pathway is dug out for, and then that will just be asphalt at that point. OSP pool is open at this point. We've had some pretty good days as of lately. Last week it was a little slow. We have secured Marcos for the concession stand. So the concession stand is all up and running, or is all up and ready. They are looking to be in there by Friday and hopefully operational by this weekend. So that was the goal. They were the only people to respond back to our RFP, so it was a pretty easy process. We have been working on some beautification of some parks. I've done a lot of work at Eaton Preserve, Village Green, Boy Scout Park. We're doing playground mulch in some of the parks that have been identified as low immediately. Eaton Preserve, the Reserve, Cambridge Run. We're also looking at Canton Ridge, I believe, is also on the list right now. Caton. So the Parks Department is out in full force. It's summer mode. Summer programs are all underway at this point. It's been pretty busy. We've had, last week started day camp. Games on the Go began yesterday. Dance is also going on at this point, so we're pretty much in full mode. And then just as I will keep the board apprised as legislation comes out and anything regarding the property tax freeze, so I can just keep giving you the information that's being passed on. But the encouragement of last week, if you want to contact the legislators in any way, shape, or form, please do, as that is pending legislation that could affect us. Beyond that, we have two presentations tonight. One is not listed, but the first one will be by the Plainfield Historic and Preservation Commission. They want to talk to us about, I'll let them come up and present. Historic Commission.
You can present from wherever. Do you want me to advance your slides for you? Would you mind?
Yeah.
Oh. Perfect. There you go. The one on the row. Good evening. My name is Suzanne Derrick. I am a resident of Plainfield, an architectural historian, and I volunteer as a commissioner on the Plainfield Historic Preservation Commission. The HPC, Historic Preservation Commission, or HPC, is very appreciative of the opportunity to come and talk to the Park District Commissioners about the potential for a Village Green or Ingersoll Residential Historic District. I wanted to first review the role of the Historic Preservation Commission here in Plainfield. The mission, as shown in our bylaws, is to identify and preserve the distinctive historic architectural areas, buildings, structures, landscapes, and archaeological sites, which represent elements of our village's cultural, social, economic, political, and or architectural history. We also are charged with fostering civic pride in the beauty and noble accomplishments of the past, to protect and increase the value of property within the historic districts and those sites designated as historic landmarks, to encourage preservation, restoration, and rehabilitation of the village's building structures and of its historic residential and commercial neighborhoods. Also to ensure the economic benefits resulting from preservation.
She's got to be able to read.
Sorry, thank you so much. Sorry, I need my notes. Sorry. Economic benefits resulting from preservation actions such as tax incentives, new job creation through renovation projects for new buildings. Make sure that these are all available to the citizens and business owners here in Plainfield. All of us that serve on the commission recognize the important tie to understanding our past and helping guide our future. The Village Historic Preservation Commission has designated 2 historic districts already and multiple individual landmarks. One of them is the East Side Historic District near Bartlett and Center, and then the Downtown Historic District along Lockport, and then some of the side streets there. The district has a definition within our regulations. It's a grouping of sites, properties, and or buildings recommended by the Plainfield Historic Preservation Commission and officially designated by the Village Board for its historic and architectural value. A district may consist of individual landmarks, contributing properties, and non-contributing properties. Properties within a proposed historic district must have historic and or architectural significance, so they're telling a story of our past. They must retain sufficient integrity to convey that sense of history. A lot of times we think of districts as when you're walking through a district, you sort of feel like you've been taken back in time. It's easier to understand the stories that have happened in our past. The village's historic preservation ordinance outlines criteria for an area to qualify as a historic district, so this is not an arbitrary process or based just on appearance. The potential Village Green Historic District is a unique collection of buildings that conveys a very special, that helps convey the special heritage of Plainfield as one of the earliest communities in Will County. A survey conducted in 2005 identified this contiguous historic district centered on the Village Green. The Green central location is not only historically important, but it plays a role in the HPC's ability to more easily delineate a historic district because so many properties in the area touch the Village Green. This next slide shows an aerial view. The red outline is a proposed district. This thing changes as we go through the process as outlined by the village. It can change, but these are the boundaries as outlined by the 2005 survey. And I highlighted in green the Village Green, or City Park, as it was sometimes called back in the day, and how it plays that key role in that area. So the Village Green touches 17 properties, so it plays a critical role in helping delineate a district because all the parcels need to be contiguous. So if, say, a property owner in the lower corner, they may get cut off of the historic district if we can't find a path through other willing property owners. So by participation within a potential district, it allows, it introduces a potential for several other property owners to participate in the district where they may not have been able to due to individual property owners' concerns. The process of designating a Village of Plainfield Historic District is outlined in our regulations, and we've also received guidance over our prior attempts from the Village Board. The first step is to conduct the architectural survey that identifies, by a professional, identifies buildings which appear to retain the key architectural elements or historic associations. So the survey that was done in 2005 focused on the external appearance of buildings, and then Mike Bortle, our chair, he volunteers just gobs of his time to doing title work that helps us tie ownership of those buildings and properties throughout our history to the people that helped settle Plainfield or develop certain things or made certain things happen here. So we can then tie that history to the architectural merits of the building. After we've conducted that first phase, which is how we ended up with the red outline, we go on to conducting public meetings. This is one because a special one with you all as the Village Green, the trustee of the Village Green, basically. But we will have additional meetings with the private homeowners. They get notification, they come, we usually have a series of meetings. We also try to arrange door-to-door meetings just to make sure we do a lot of education so that we can talk to people about the benefits and also address any concerns that they may have about being in a historic district. I did want to mention too, the background photos for these slides are historic views of the Village Green that were provided to us by Tim and Michelle Smith. They're village residents, and they've also, I think, published a book or two with historic photos of Plainfield. So hopefully you'll enjoy the photos too. The next steps in the process of designating a village historic district is to get feedback from the property owners. So after those educational sessions, we solicit property owner feedback to figure out the percent of participation. The village trustees have indicated that our ordinance requires just over 50% participation. And the National Register process requires the inverse of that. You have to have not more than 50% objection. But through feedback from our village trustees, they would like a supermajority. So we poll the property owners and see if we have enough interest for a district to go forward. And then just to clarify that each PIN, so each property with a PIN number counts as one vote. So while the Village Green is physically the largest parcel within the boundaries, the Village Green only carries one vote. So it carries no more weight than any other property owners in those boundaries as far as making the district successful or not. It's just we do sort of have a unique geographic benefit as far as helping tie it together. The next steps in the process are if we do have property owner, the supermajority of participation, then the Landmarks District and Designation Subcommittee of the Historic Preservation Commission drafts a nomination form. So the nomination form outlines the area of significance, information on the integrity of the properties within the boundaries, and basically makes the case for the landmark designation. Then a public hearing is held at the Historic Preservation Commission. We have an opportunity for public testimony. The Historic Preservation Commission has a discussion of the merits of the application, and then if it's decided that there is enough support and the district is strong enough, then we put forward a nomination to our village board. We are, as this last slide explains, we are advisory to the village board, and so it's only by their action that we end up with an approval or a denial of the recommended historic district. This slide too, just in the lower right, you see the gentleman standing there. Tim Smith was telling me that Village Green was home to a rather unique version of croquet with very short handles. And he said gentlemen used to gather there on a regular basis and play this unique version of croquet, and he actually has one of the croquet mallets. So I thought it was kind of interesting. All right, here's some other images from him of residences that go around Village Green. So the one on the right is Fox River Street. The one on the left is South Congress Plains. And this is a quote that I thought was, I like it. It's from Craig Potts, the Kentucky State Historic Preservation Officer. You know, historic preservation clearly does much more than preserve bricks and mortar. It recognizes that our built history connects us in tangible ways to our past and provides context for the places we occupy and the world we live in. It fuses art with craftsmanship, capacity for modern utility with embodied energy, and progressive ideas for economic revitalization with traditional authenticity. And that speaks a lot to me. I'm not from Plainfield, I've lived here about 10 years, and I know as you all know 59, sometimes you're not sure, are you in Naperville, Plainfield, Shorewood, but when you get into our historic cores and Naperville's historic core, that's where we really start to see our unique identities. And I think by allowing these preservation tools to preserve our historic places, that we can retain that identity even longer and share it with our future generations. Some of the benefits of being in a historic district. These are ones that are tailored more for residential properties, but as a not-for-profit to some historic preservation projects, you're eligible for additional grant funding. But these are pretty much tailored for residential properties, but we'll go over each one in a moment. Benefits for resale value. There's been multiple studies that show definitely a benefit for commercial historic district properties. That's the first bullet point there. Over a 30-year period, the property values increased potentially, versus 72% for properties not located in a historic district. Another study, which was of residential properties, they found that the property values stabilize or increase an equivalent to the market value increase as a whole, better than market value, or in a worst case, maintain. And part of this is just like the same function as an HOA. You're managing change. It's another planning tool, really. So another benefit that's related is stability. So just as local zoning and planning laws preserve the character of an area within a community, designating certain areas for commercial or educational, residential, the HPC helps preserve the historic character of a historic district. Historic district designation, local permit review helps slow the rate of change and make sure that the historic characteristics are preserved. So when you buy a historic home in an area, when you're in a district, you can have a higher confidence level that your neighbors also will be asked to preserve the same scales, use of historic materials, and things like that, so that the properties remain compatible. Another one is code relief. The village board in 2006 adopted the 2006 International Existing Building Code, which softens some of the requirements. Historic buildings are not held to the same standard as new buildings then for new construction. There's an alternative handbook then that outlines standards that are more sensitive to historic buildings. So it can help homeowners when they trigger certain codes they have to comply with. It can soften some of those and ease that burden on a historic homeowner. Another one is the HPC. The village board really thinks it's very important that we provide our technical expertise and education for our residents. And so the HPC is made up of people with different backgrounds. We try to make sure that we have an architect, builders, people who have dealt with the construction process for historic homes, architectural historians. We have a realtor too that can help answer questions about how to market historic buildings. So we volunteer our time and share our expertise to help homeowners with their projects. We offer workshops and things like that. So we're also a CLG, so we have special access to the State Historic Preservation Office. And CLG stands for Certified Local Government. So we have the expertise from the State Historic Preservation Office come and help us do workshops on windows or masonry, things like that, to help our homeowners here in town. Another benefit, this one's a little more touchy-feely, is the recognition and prestige. During George W. Bush's administration, they developed the Preserve America designation, and Plainfield was designated as one of those communities. So there are special places nationwide that have a unique history that you apply for this program, and we were selected. So Plainfield has a unique history that's been recognized at a national level. One of the other benefits is protection of Plainfield's heritage. Historic designation and having a Historic Preservation Commission with a permit review process helps ensure that property and redevelopment, property modifications and everything are historically sensitive. Some common concerns that come, we've addressed some of these in our prior meetings with the property owners, are erosion of private property rights, inability to make any changes to the property, and a difficult review process. I'll deal with these in turn. First, concerns for private property rights. As extensive and precious as they are, our private property rights have never been and are not now absolute. Like most other rights, they're tempered with responsibilities. The Constitution does not give property owners the right to abuse land or use their property in a way that hurts others. Zoning-based restrictions on land use were first created to protect property rights and values of property owners against the potentially harmful actions of other property owners. And this is just recognition that a lot of times value of our real estate comes from our neighbors and the things that surround us. So there's a long-standing precedent for zoning. Historic preservation is often considered another layer of that zoning review. So another concern. Some people have concerns that I'll be forced to make changes. If I'm in a historic district, I have to restore my building, or I have to replace my windows, or I have to paint. There is no obligation for anyone to do anything to their property just because they're in a historic district. And that's one of the biggest myths. What does happen is that there is a review process for major changes, exterior changes to the property that may affect its historic character. Our review process in the village, there's no review for ordinary maintenance or repair. Alterations of properties within the boundaries of a historic district or those on landmarked properties do require, a permit for minor or major work that affect the exterior architectural appearance do require a certificate of appropriateness for COA. And this slide here just outlines that process. It can add 21 days to the permit review process, but again, we have a process outlined through the village so people know what to expect. We have pre-application meetings that are with our village planner, our representative Michael Garrigan, and he works with the applicant to make sure they have a strong application before coming forward to the HPC. So the HPC reviews the work. I think in our experience we've been, I think, really helpful to people. We've had a lot of good feedback from the historic district residents. And so we definitely want to be viewed as helping and having people love Plainfield's history and want to be part of their work. So it's one of our partnership that we take. So, no one of you have any questions we might try and answer about the process?
So are you looking for us to vote that we want to be part of this? Are you in that process now?
Yeah, actually, we're at the very beginning of the process.
Okay.
We did want to talk to you early in the process because how you all feel about whether you want to be in the district or not, whether you want to be in the property, changes our strategy, our marketing efforts, because we have to go to be more strategic about where we're grabbing different properties. You all are not members of being in. And I think everybody who touches your parcel now to be in on that. We do not want to be on the road. And we have a different process. And it just comes out of everything.
Is there something in the village green that makes it historic? Do we have, there's something. Yeah, it is.
There's been a lot of change with the green over time. And it doesn't, the research is not really that there are a lot of structures that are built there. There's erosion, historic meadows, pathways. But park serves modern needs right now. And in my opinion, this is not necessarily the PTPD commission, it would probably be a non-contributing property. And so the review process for you all making future changes is different than a property that's a key contributing property or a contributing property.
Okay, for example, now how do you present your case to us in regards to presenting us from any historical items in regards to you put on these outside residents of property owners in regards to the rules, the codes that you apply to these residents? How do you present that to us in regards to, right now, the park is the park, and you're coming in and saying, we want your vote, is creates this historical. In this basis, we are constantly changing the parks, modernizing, but it is your group, if we vote, to go with this historical, to help you out connecting all these other properties. How do you present that to us in regards to not being obligated to, say that, no, we can't make no changes without your permission?
Right. If your work normally requires a permit, then it would go through our process. If your work does not normally require a permit through the village, then it still wouldn't. It would go through our process. Our review happens only when there's a permit review.
Sorry, that's a key for now. What else? Well, at least would be looking at representing the park in regards to going through another department for permission to do work on the taxpayers' park districts and the land. So, but it would always say,
It would only be on structures in the park.
well, it doesn't matter. It don't matter. It really don't matter in regards. You have sole control of our development. You a yay or nay?
Suzanne?
No, not really.
The structure.
Suzanne?
The bathhouse. or
Real-
The bathroom.
The bathroom, and maybe the shelter.
Well, there we go.
Again, we're advising.
real quick, Mikey, Mike, real quickly, nothing that's been done over the last 20 or 50 years would have been a problem. Nothing that's been done that required a permit would have been a problem. Nothing.
Nothing that you've done would have ever raised a red flag.
Well, we're never looking in the past, we're looking to improve our parks. And you're saying that that's going to be a problem.
No, we didn't say that.
I didn't say. We're advisory again, so when people come before us, they ask for, they want to put up a new fence where there wasn't one before. So we talk to them about that, what would be compatible materials, compatible scale.
Once again, as I mentioned again, not that we're looking at promotion of, again, they're dictating to us in regards to what we should do in our parks. Again, it's up to the board members being elected, being represented, plus the director to determine what's best, and what we can do to improve and modernize our parks. But that's where the issue stands.
I would not characterize what we do as dictating to anyone about anything, because again, we're advisory. We try to be of assistance to people that have historic properties. Your park, again, is not contributing, so all we would be doing is offering comments that you can take or leave, and the village board takes or leaves. They have disagreed with us on denials of COAs. They let things go on before, more than once, 3 times now. So we are really
You only had 2 major structures for the last 150 years. There's only been 2 major structures on Block 10. Since Ingersoll gave that to the village in 1836, he stipulated that as long as nothing was built on it as a permanent structure like living in or something like that, it would remain part of a park for the village of Plainfield. Once something permanent like a house was put on the property, then it would no longer be part of a park and it would revert back to the Ingersoll family. And that was his stipulation of how the village green was to be used. And so the only thing that the park district has done is put in a bathroom and a shelter. In stipulation with what Ingersoll agreed with the village when we donated the land. The reason the village green was created was because Chester Ingersoll wanted to create a downtown square at the corner of Illinois and Lockport Street. But Levi Arnold, who owned the property on which this building sits, didn't want that.
Okay, Ingersoll pick up the property from whom?
Ingersoll bought all the property south of Lockport Street.
Whose property was that prior?
United States government.
And whose property was that prior to that?
Belonged to the Indians, I suspect.
Okay.
But it became part of the Northwest Territory.
Okay, the historical value and notification or recognizing history. We should speak about all of that, with regards to as far as how should we dig up. So that's the very historical data. But anyway, back to regards to what you're saying on codes. How do you describe codes if it's not being directed or dictated in regards to how residents are supposed to conduct their historical values of the property?
I guess I'm not sure I understand the question.
Codes are like being dictated, telling you, this is the law, this is the way, the rule of the law, the road, so that's being dictated, to follow in regards to, keeping your property into whatever historical,
Well, we don't do
fashion.
that. We do not require them to, paint their homes or replace the windows with wood windows. If they don't have any action proposed, we have no process, no power, no desire to tell them they have to do something. If someone comes before us and they want to remove all the wood siding and put up vinyl, we would discourage that. We would not recommend approval of that. And so then it would go to our village board, where there's a process for economic hardship. If they simply can't afford wood or retaining wood or having it painted, they make that case to the village board, and the village board has done that once,
They
I know of.
can change, they can do whatever they want. We're just advising.
We really are just advisory, but we do encourage people to preserve the historic elements of their properties.
In the bathroom that you, the
What I'm
reason,
saying, like, what I'm saying is, like I said, you know, I came from Old Bridgeport in the city, and like I said, people have done restoration on whole, you know, pieces of property, and some people have actually fully modernized it.
right,
Without any kind of historical presence, you know, significance in regards to what you're proposing. So in regards to